What's up, everybody? Welcome to ThreatGEN's Red versus Blue Let's Play. It is Wednesday. It is 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which means we're going to dig right into playing a cybersecurity simulation gamification platform. Clint's definitely going to correct me on the titling there, but what we're going to do in the next hour with you is go through ThreatGEN Red versus Blue and show you how versatile it is. Not only can you skill up yourself and use it to leverage tabletop exercises to make it more facilitating and allow you to focus on actually educating the business, the legal, the executives, the management, etc. But and really focus on them instead of focusing on injections in the platform. But you can use it to actually skill up your own staff. So if you have, a bunch of junior analysts, you're interested in high entry level and actually giving them the opportunity to skill up in a meaningful way without having them having to experience actual real cybersecurity incidents to get that trial by fire, you're going to see today you can use the platform to do that. We're going to hop in to a tabletop exercise. We don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to be the CISO. You guys are all the analysts. We're going to show it together on how we can use this platform to really learn practical cybersecurity. Hope you can join us. Let's go. Hey there, Clint Poe Dungeon. How are you?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So, Clint, I'm super pumped today about being able to go into the ThreatGEN Red versus Blue platform and really walk through tabletop exercises, but in a different way. Most people, I feel, think tabletop exercise, it's all about, I'm going to bring us up a little bit, Clint. Tabletop exercise, people are thinking, oh, this is like bring all of the people from the business in, help educate them on the importance of cybersecurity. But there is another less talked about opportunity of practicing doing drills essentially and skilling up your more junior staff, because just because the senior person who's been there 30 years know exactly where all the backups are doesn't mean that they're going to be there that day when the crap hits the fan. What do you think about what we're going to be doing today, Clint?
Yeah, so there are two different types of thoughts on incident response exercises, and then there are a few different thoughts on tabletop. So the first one, which we're not talking about today, is the functional or technical incident response exercise. That one is where you actually have realistic packets, injects, and you're working with mainly your SOC, your analysts, your threat hunters, and it's specifically for technical. And in that case, you may pair that with a fully functional exercise where you're involving legal and PR and management and leadership and all of that. But that takes a lot of resources, and that takes planning and all of that. But what you can do more frequently is what everybody knows of as a tabletop exercise, and that's what we're doing here. Now, so specifically on the tabletop exercise, you have ones where you engage your entire team. You engage PR, and you engage legal, you engage leadership, you engage executives, you engage SOC, at least from a decision perspective, and engineers. And then, like you said, you could scale it back and just do certain teams, right? So you can just do it with your legal team, your PR team, your SOC team, just your security team. And that's kind of what we're doing today is the less planning it takes and the more frequently you can do it, then the better off you're going to be. And it's logistically difficult to get everybody involved in a tabletop. So if you can do it specific teams, smaller groups, you can do it more frequently. And that's kind of what we're illustrating here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we talk a lot about getting practical skills to break into the industry, right? Like, employers value practical skills. But even as a practitioner, like, here's a spoiler alert, like, you need to continue to practice your skill set. You need to continue to refine, to learn new techniques, to be exposed to different type of incidents. You might have done training on like, oh, ransomware incident, but like there's an entire other world of social engineering or physical security penetration or, XYZ. Like wait until next week and there'll be a whole new kind of technique or approach that threat actors have. So it's incumbent upon you, if you want to be effective at cyber risk reduction and help your organization weather the storm when it's a really when it's a real rainy day, for lack of a better term, you need to drill, which is what this platform can allow us to do, Clint. And I for one love it because it kind of it abstracts you from having to build out like a lab or having to build out a concept. We've seen some games, like I love Black Hills Information Security Backdoors and Breaches. It's a card game, but that's another step away from kind of the hands-on practical skills. It's good for iterations and mindfulness, but a platform like this allows us to kind of get a little bit closer to practical reality, and I'm a huge fan of it.
Real quick, yes, Alex, it should say Red versus Blue co-creator, but it gets kind of long. But then I was like, that's kind of long. Then I see Jerry's up there. So I guess, yes, because it's co-created between myself and Aaron Shabib and a few other people. But yes, real quick. So one of the things that I want to point out is that doing exercises, all exercises, pen tests, tabletops, fully functional exercises, it does also, it's a tool that you can use to persuade management that you need budget, right? It's going to show you where your weaknesses are, where your risks are, and it's a tool you can use to get budget, because getting budget doesn't work like this.
Give me budget for cybersecurity.
There's no Jedi mind tricks. Just FYI, I built that 100% with AI. I did that on my last streaming episode. I think it was the last episode or the episode before. That image was completely generated by Midjourney. And the animation of that image was done by D-ID. So I just thought that was really cool. I even found a voice that sounded somewhat like Luke Skywalker. So anyway, that's pretty cool.
Very nice.
So one of the things that so that's really what kind of what it's about, what we're doing here today. And I just want to point out one thing before we get started, is that we've got some really big updates coming this year, but specifically in the next update, we're going to be improving the AI. Also, right now, this is just the first step with the tabletop exercise platform version of Red versus Blue. We have a lot more features, a lot more customizability coming out. So, look at what we do today as just the beginning of where we're going with this. And yes, I know that's a shameless plug, but this is my stream, so too bad.
Absolutely. And before we dig in, I do want to say shout out to all those who are joining us in chat, both on YouTube and LinkedIn. I see you, Beth Sheridan, Aaron KG, Drian, coming in from South Africa, Jide E, Just Ben, of course, Alex Goodwin. I don't know if David E's up in this place, but a lot of regulars, a lot of new faces. So welcome one and all, both old friends and new soon-to-be friends. We genuinely appreciate your time today.
One other last thing is, if those of you that are learning more about response of active threats and response tabletop exercises, I will actually be talking more about that on a stream directly after this, not on the ThreatGEN channel, but it's for CSA. That's it's a CNS in parentheses 2 AI, and it's for critical infrastructure, and I'll be talking about all of that in a stream. In fact, I might even have to leave a little early here because there's a stream back to back with this one where I'm jumping directly over to do that one. So we'll be talking a lot more about that on that stream. Go look it up, Google it. That's about all I can. I don't have a link for it, so sorry. It was completely off the cuff.
All right. Well, I guess that'll be an Easter egg hunt. Find Clint. Like, where in the world is Carmen Bow Dungeon?
There you go.
All right, Clint. I think we're ready to bring this baby online. Let's go ahead and pull it up. There is ThreatGEN Red versus Blue. I'm going to go ahead and remove our participant's name just so it clutters it a little less. We're going to go do IR tabletop. So most of us are familiar with the play button here, but the IR tabletop is where it's at. Go ahead and drop that. We're going to do pipeline company today, which is a mid-size environment that has both industrial control systems and classical IT infrastructure. There is a user LAN, there is remote workforce, etc. So we'll go ahead and choose that. Now, one of the interesting things about ThreatGEN Red versus Blue for tabletop exercises is you can select specific known threats like physical security, ransomware, specific threat actors, and ThreatGEN is constantly expanding their inventory of what they have here. So continue to watch these things grow. But like if I'm going to be training up my staff, like random is a great option because, which I've selected, because they're not going to be able to be like, oh, I'm going to focus and prioritize social engineering defenses because I know it's an email attack, right? So we have to approach this as practical as we can. Now, if you're not familiar with ThreatGEN Red versus Blue, it is a cybersecurity simulation platform, and there are different ways to win. Since we're doing a tabletop exercise, the objective is to learn and help our staff get better at doing their job. It is not to win, although winning would be nice. There are win conditions in this game. On the blue team, if we increase our threat intelligence score to 100%, which means we've gathered enough forensics, we've got enough data intel on the threat actor group, they're either going to be arrested and put in jail, or they're not going to come around here anymore. So that's a win condition. Patching all of our vulnerabilities is a win condition, but like, welcome to reality. You're never going to patch all the vulnerabilities. Like, you probably won't read that in a textbook, but it's a hard truth. And then finally, outlasting the red team is a good way to win as well. Now, again, this is tabletop exercise, so we are not worried too much about winning. We're worried about learning. In this particular scenario, we've already started with a little bit of defenses here in place. So wasting no time, we've got the Purdue model employed. You can Google that if you want, but it includes network. It includes like basic stuff, asset inventory. I think the Purdue model actually, network segmentation, Clint, and backups. Like,
Yep.
We'll have to Google it, but network segmentation's in place. We've got strong Wi-Fi, security awareness training. We have backups in place, and we can create restore points. So just from so the scenario begins, guys. Okay, the scenario begins. We're at work. We haven't experienced a threat yet, and we're just going about our day. So we may look at this and say, okay, junior staff, here are some of the things that we can do. What are your thoughts? We don't have a SIM. We don't have video surveillance. We can do backups for free, right? So what do you think we should do? What do you think we should do? Again, there's no immediate threat right now, so you're not like responding to something particular. Now, what I would say is let's do backups on all the things. Since we know that they're in a known good state, we can take that to our advantage.
We hope they're in a known good state.
Yeah, we hope. I mean, we're on turn 1. That would be a pretty clever threat actor.
We do have scenarios in here where your systems are already compromised and you don't know it, so you never know.
Oh boy. All right. Well, okay. So you might look at this and just say, like, I would almost say to, just entry-level people or new analysts or whatever, simply because this is an internal to information security office thing, I might say, guys, take 2 minutes, look at the items that are in green or gold right now, and tell me what you think we should do. And then tell me why, right? You begin to get some perspective, right? So maybe Alex Goodwin is like, hey, I think we should install a SIM. Well, why, Alex? Well, because SIMs give us the ability to see into our environment and understand if things get compromised. We can put EDR in place. We can see network telemetry. Good point, Alex. And then maybe Christopher Cahal is like, hey, I think we should do ICS vendor certification. You might say, well, why? And then Chris is like, well, by doing that, we make sure that we can fix the ICS if there's something wrong. Which I'd say, okay, that's a great point, Chris. That is why we would do ICS vendor certification. But given the amount of priorities and things that we have to do, I would argue that we could wait a little longer because we're not actually going to fix any of the industrial control systems for a few weeks because we don't even know what's wrong with them. So it's a little bit of putting the cart before the horse. Now, I lost my turn because I was jaw-jacking. But my point is, this is how you would use this type of thing.
Now, you can start the scenario, by the way, if you want to give yourself more time for dialogue, because that's a big part of, that is a really big part of tabletop exercises, is that you can give yourself more time, 15 minutes, whatever you want to give yourself. So,
yeah, again, the point of a tabletop exercise is not to like get through it as quickly as possible or win. The point is to learn, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and harden RDP. We're going to do the terminal server. And let's go ahead. We did install SIM. And let's do install VPN, right? Just to kind of shore up. Okay, so hey, here's a really quick thing too, Clint, worth sharing. So you might say to your team, like, we don't know the scenario that's happening right now, but we might say, hey, we have got a threat intelligence report, because again, you can do these like once a week. It doesn't have to be like a special annual event. You could do them once a week so you can get really tailored. You could say, hey, listen, threat intelligence report came across my desk. It says that there's an uptick in activity and threat actors scanning the internet looking for vulnerable listening services, vulnerable remote services. So that's our priority, guys, ladies and guys. Like, what, having heard that, now what do you think we should be doing, right? And then you can kind of inform your threat intelligence, because at the end of the day, you can't implement all the controls all at once. There's money, there's time, there's people, resources. So you need to prioritize. Well, if we've got threat intel that there's remote access attempts happening all over the place, then that needs to inform it. So I'm going to do harden RDP. Okay. Well,
and by the way, like I was talking about, we have some updates coming out, and one of the updates that we have coming out soon, you're going to get a lot more of that notification information, a lot more of that story narrative that you're talking about, Jerry, so that there's more context with what's going on. We also have and you can go ahead and go. We have a question here that I think is worth answering, since I already did a shameless plug. Well, there's a question. I'm messing things up. Anyway, somebody said, would a pen test be a good start? However, so there's that one. So you can answer that one. And then I have and there's another question about pricing, and I'll answer that in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question. So the question is a pen test a good start? There are different schools of thought around that. I've heard multiple people say, like, oh, there's no point in getting a pen test. We know how vulnerable we are. We know how exposed we are, which is almost saying it kind of like anecdotally that, oh, we don't have a great program. There's no point in paying someone to tell us we don't have a great program. I would argue, and whoever asked that question, thank you for asking. I would argue the way I would do it at my program that I built, I would implement your basic controls, your multi-factor authentication, your endpoint detection and response, firewalls, like your fundamental controls, right? And email gateway and stuff like that. Then I would do a pen test. External pen test, right? So there's different kinds of pen tests as well. There's internal, external, wireless only, physical. The list goes on. Application, whatever. What I would do is an external pen test. I would do gray box, which there's like black box, gray box, white box, clear box. I would give the pen testers the network range that they have, and if they're able to break through and get onto my internal network, like get a foothold and then get internal, I would consider that win condition. I don't need them to get to Active Directory. I don't need them to run Bloodhound and all this other stuff. If they can get in, that's a problem. And then I would have them rinse and repeat, and that would allow you to identify your largest threat, which is the internet, and be able to prioritize remediating those. And then I would go back into like hardening all my stuff and getting a nice program in place, and then doing a pen test where it's like all things are on the table.
Yeah, and there's a misconception about this thing called the assumed breach mentality. The assumed breach mentality has more to do with making sure that you're protecting inside, protecting lateral movement and things like that. It doesn't mean throw your hands up, we're screwed, so don't worry about it. Real quick.
Yeah, talk about
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, somebody asked a question. Do you get everything for a flat price? So just FYI, with the Pro model, yeah, you get everything except for the tabletop exercise module. The tabletop exercise module is an extra cost. However, this week we are coming out with new and cheaper pricing plans for individuals. We're going to be doing a pay what you can plan for individuals starting this week. So look for that. That's going to be great for you individuals that can't afford it, or that can only afford so much but want access to the Pro model. We're doing that because we're no longer supporting the Steam version. You can still get it, but it's not getting any more updates because we're converting everybody over to the Pro model, and it is a pay what you can. So that's going to be awesome for people.
There you go. So that hopefully that answers your question in chat about Steam versus the Pro model. No, Alex, I wouldn't say assumed reach is defense in depth. Defense in depth is philosophy of there's no silver bullet kind of thing. Assumed breach is zero trust architecture, I would say. All right. So you can see on our action log, we got some log collection on the firewall. We're focusing on remote access since I made that threat intel up in the middle of this stream, which definitely works. You could see here, I would even say installing a NIDS right here and installing a NIDS being network intrusion detection system right here. So like if a threat's going to come for the internet, it's going to be coming from this left internet or right here over the VPN. Okay, those are the two internet facing things. This is where our remote users are. So we want to shore up the defenses around that. Terminal server obviously going to be internet accessible, so we want to be careful of that as well. Question from Chris Hidalgo. For the IR tabletop, are there reporting options available? Could you export the action log for writing up exercises afterwards, Clint?
Absolutely. And we're even building some scripts in place. So there's a report and it's in a CSV, but we're also building scripts that you can download to automatically do some analysis. And we're in the process of working on number one. We're normalizing it so you can actually post your entire action log into something like ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will give you an analysis like a human analyst would. But also, we are working on this year integrating the GPT models or the Lambda models, depending on which one we go with, to give you that analysis with your reports. And in the dashboard, we've got analytics dashboards, improved analytics dashboards coming out, which give you historical trending of your exercises. But
wow. Wow, pretty awesome. Clint, if someone wanted to stay close to the updates on the ThreatGEN platform, is there a Twitter account? Should they follow LinkedIn, the account on LinkedIn? How should they follow?
Yeah, two things really. Number one, you can find us on LinkedIn. You can also join our Discord channel, which is there. That's the link to our Discord channel. And also, we will be making every time we have big updates and announcements, we write kind of a press release on the ThreatGEN.com website, which is right there.
Very nice. I agree, Beth Sheridan. This type of visualization would be huge when you're studying for Sec Plus or Net Plus. I would argue. Yeah. Also, you might even be able to use the action log export for CPEs because it is evidence. All right, so let's keep rolling. You could see again. I've told my staff, listen, we're worried about threat intelligence is reporting an uptick in activity and remote access. So I would ask them, okay, what do you guys think? Like, where should we focus our resources? You might get some conversations. And guys, hold on, let me go big screen Jerry here. One of the things that you need to understand when you're facilitating a tabletop, right? This platform is great and it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. But when you're facilitating a tabletop, you need to ask open-ended questions that elicit opinions, thoughts, perspectives and pull from experience of the individuals. That is the trick. That's the secret sauce of an effective tabletop, right? So you say, hey, Bruce Rosenthal, there's an uptick in activity in remote access attacks. What do you think we should do? And Bruce might be like, I don't know. Like, with all due respect, Bruce, I don't know you, but like maybe Bruce is like, I don't know. And it's like, okay, no problem, Bruce. Here's the scaffolding of options. Look at them. Now you have a menu to pick from. Now tell me which one you think we should do. At least you have options to pick from. And he might say, encrypt network traffic, which would not be a great option, okay? And I might say, okay, Bruce, why? Why would we do that? And then he might say, oh, I don't really know. I just wanted to pick one. You're like, okay, well, let me help you, Bruce, understand why I think we should go with something like hardened RDP, right? And then I'm teaching Bruce. I'm teaching my staff. And the other people there's a term for this. I think it's called inverted classroom. But I might say, hey, Melina, like, what do you think? And Melina's like, I think we should do multi-factor authentication, like Melina just said in chat right here, right? And I say, okay, why, Melina? And then Melina might drop some knowledge bombs on us. And then Bruce says, oh, it makes more sense to me when you say it, Jerry, I don't get it. When Melina says it, I get it. And at that point, again, the goal, people, is to learn and scale up your staff. It's not to be the smartest person in the room. If that's your objective with the tabletop exercise, you're doing it incorrectly. So we've got multi-factor authentication up here. Is there a subscription fee for Discord? No, Jide.
Well, correct. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, sorry. That Discord, there's no subscription fee. It's free. One thing I forgot to mention though is the tabletop. I said that the tabletop module is extra. If you want the unlimited tabletop, that's one. You just pay yearly for the subscription to get unlimited. In addition to the reduced pricing plans that we have for individuals, for those companies that may not be able to have limited budgets or restrained budgets maybe don't need the entire unlimited tabletop plan, we do have discrete modules or individual scenarios that you can get at a much bigger reduction in price. So let's say you just want to let's say there's a recent threat just came out and we have a tabletop exercise scenario for that. You can purchase just that scenario at a reduced price, and you don't have to worry about it anyway. So that's just another option that we have that's out there. That will be coming out.
Clint, I know that this was discussed. I'm not 100% sure if this has been developed yet or it's available for the masses, but ThreatGEN is actually working on a template that you can leverage to turn over to your management to request funding for the platform to do tabletop exercises, like the benefits of tabletop exercise, how much tabletop costs when you hire a third-party professional services company to do it, some of the challenges with that, and then what the advantage is of doing it through the ThreatGEN platform. And oh, by the way, here's the price savings. I don't know if that's available yet, Clint, but that is something that is on the roadmap, correct?
Yeah, exactly. That should be out pretty soon.
Yeah, so guys, you can definitely take advantage of that and get your employer to not just buy this for you, but actually help you implement better cyber risk reduction. Now, I want to call out right now to you guys, if you note, right here at the top, our little marker has gone down in the green. Do you see this? Company P&L is going down. That would indicate that we've got a bad threat actor in here. Some information is being dropped. There is dark web activity that our pipeline company has been compromised. So we've got an issue. It's not all hands on deck red alert right now, but it is something that we need to try to discover and find out. So again, we're worried about remote access. So
hey, real quick, someone just said they found Reddit, found ThreatGEN Red versus Blue on Reddit. That is not legit, and it is as far as I know, I'm gonna have to. The link, it says your file is ready to download. We are not putting this out on Reddit, and there's no file to download, so I'd be very careful about that. Number one, it could be Trojanized, and that could be malicious. Number two, if it's not, and if it is a version of the game out there, like maybe on Steam, somebody found it and got the binary and put it out there, Awesome. Great. You found a free version of Red versus Blue, but number one, it's not going to be supported with updates. You're not going to get all the updates. Number two, there's about to be a free version of the Pro for pay what you can anyway. So why risk it? Just saying.
Exactly. Good catch though, Clint.
Actually, that was found by Christopher in our chat. Just put it out there. So thanks for finding
Chris.
that, Christopher.
Yeah, thanks for being a collaborative team member. All right, so here we go. We are dealing with a active incident here, an active threat in our environment. You could see here we're rolling out 2FA. Melina had a great idea. We're doing EDR on our endpoints, so we've done it there. We've done it there. I'm worried about remote access. So you can see we've got log collection and analysis on these devices here, and we'll do the DMZ as well. The DMZ firewall, very important to protect. All right. Ransomware infection. Not good. So one of our end users in user land has been compromised. Now, this is our internal infrastructure. So, at this point, this is a perfect injection in a tabletop exercise. And again, this is why it's nice that every time you play the game, it's going to be a different scenario, different situation. So I might say at this point, Carrie, one of our end users' workstations has been ransomwared. What do you think we should do? Right? Perfectly simple question. Different answers all over the place. Do we activate IR? Why do we activate IR? Do we wait a couple turns? Do we put log collection and analysis around it? Do we do EDR on the other user points? There's all sorts of different options and questions to ask, and that's what I would do right now. So because it takes about 15 seconds for the chat to go, I would ask you guys, what do you think? What do you think we should do? You can see that because we have NIDs in place, we're getting a little bit of telemetry. I'm initially going to do NIDs in user land, and I'm going to put EDR on the two devices that are also in user land, thinking that there's an uptick. Like this zone, this purple zone, has effectively been compromised. What do you guys think? This is also why you want to make sure that the tabletop exercise, you have drinks, you have snacks. I would suggest having like a bowl of candy. As silly as it sounds, having a bowl of candy so people can stay engaged and sugary, really thinking. If you can, make it off-site. Don't make it in the office. You want people to be relaxed, comfortable, open to, expressing their own thoughts. Another pro tip, if you have somebody who is a strong personality, like, oh, what you would do is this, like you ask Carrie, what would you do, Carrie, when this box is ransomware? And Alex is like, oh, you should activate IR and wipe the machine and restore from backup. At this point, that's fine. If you don't want to embarrass Alex, you can say, okay, that's a good point, Alex. Carrie, do you agree, disagree? Then the next time something happens, you could say, oh no, Alex has been called away for jury duty. What would you do, Bruce Rosenthal? And, you're kind of politely and implicitly telling Alex to not speak at this point. Again, I just chose Alex as an example, not like Alex has done anything wrong to warrant that level of scrutiny. All right, so it says TSA is taking a position regarding ransomware, isolate and rebuild. Endpoint server the firewall. Try to limit red team lateral movement. EDR, then disconnect affected. All great options. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and... This is a small discrepancy because of the way the game works, right? We can do something that takes one turn and then activate IR, which is what we're going to do. It is hard to do when you're working remote, but, there's different ways to do it. You could send a little care package because you're going to do the tabletop on Friday. So on Monday, you send the team a care package of like Sour Patch Kids, a Starbucks via instant coffee thing, and maybe a coffee cup from the company. a $10 swag bag for the team. It gives them a little bit of a buy-in. It's a good faith thing. It's fun, and it kind of sets the tone for the exercise. So let's go ahead. We've done EDR and all these things. We've done log collection analysis on the servers around here. Let's activate IR. So this is what we're doing. We're doing a bunch of things that take one turn, then we're activating IR. We're going to address EA Diddy. All right. What about you guys? Kind of interested in chat. How have you done tabletop exercises in the past? What have been your frustrations with your tabletop exercises, or what have been some wins from your tabletop exercise? Would love to get some discussion going around the utility of tabletop exercises. Now we've activated incident response, so that's where we're at right now. We're gonna go ahead and now, Clint, when we clean an asset, we cannot clean. Oh, we could restore from backup. Good thing we took those backups. We're gonna go ahead and restore from backup.
Sorry, I was trying to resolve this counterfeit download link option. Anyway, what was the question?
Not when I restore from backup, the ransomware will go away. Correct?
If it was clean when you did the restore point.
Yeah. So we did a backup on turn one. We're hoping. So actually, you know what? Like that would even be another question. Okay, so like Chimera Gonzalez, like we could clean the asset, replace the asset, disconnect from the network, or restore from backups. What do you think we should do? Right? And then have that conversation. Make sure you spread the love around, get other people's thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, that's a good point. Goes along with right now with what Emilio was saying. I felt rushed in the two I was part of. A big part of tabletop exercises, whether you're doing it with Red versus Blue or something else, is to encourage dialogue and discuss things. Now, that being said, sometimes part of the exercise is specifically to encourage decisions under stress. So if you're supposed to feel rushed because it's exercising and inoculating your stress levels and how to perform under pressure, that's okay. But if that's not the intent, then you want to make sure that you're encouraging dialogue and having enough time for discussion, because that's the point of a tabletop exercise, is to make sure that you find your issues and fix your issues with your plan, your procedures, and all of that. So
good point. So LinkedIn user here is asking how critical is the asset? Well, that's a good point. It was.
And real quick, Jerry, what you're doing right here, this is the epitome of a tabletop exercise. We're using our chat as our team, and Jerry's at the helm, but we have this scenario unfolding, and our entire chat acting as our team is saying, well, what about this? What about this? That is exactly what you're supposed to do during a tabletop exercise. And none other shameless plug. Here you go. This is how easy it is for Red versus Blue to facilitate that in the dialogue. So easy we can do it online in chat.
That's right. Zachary Gonzalez is asking, is separate voice channels. So Zachary, it's actually an active adversarial artificial intelligence playing the red team right now. So you can set it up for human versus human and kind of orchestrate what that incident looks like. But this is part of why I champion ThreatGEN Red versus Blue as a tool. You can have AI do the red team, so they handle the scenario, they handle the injections, they handle the pacing, the platform handles the infrastructure. So you can just focus on, I can focus on facilitating conversation with my team. I can use my experience and knowledge to kind of help guide and make sure that the aha moments are happening, instead of worrying about being a dungeon master and laying out this very elaborate descriptive scenario for you to visualize it. I don't need to do that because the Red versus Blue handles the visualization and the injections for me. It's brilliant.
Yeah, Nathan says, if you're using Zoom, you can also have breakout rooms. And that's exactly right. So we've done tabletop exercises with Red versus Blue virtually with Zoom, breakout rooms, having red in one room and blue in the other, both live on site as well as in breakout rooms like in Teams. So there's a lot of flexibility, but that's one of the great points, is that you could either do it right now, like we're doing, where the blue team is controlled, or I'm sorry, the red team is controlled by the computer AI, but you can also do it to where you can have a human or a facilitator controlling the red team, and you go team on team.
Yeah, and Chris Hidalgo, I don't know if you're being playful, but I could see calling IR tabletop D&D on your resume. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, if you wrote Dungeons and Dragons on the resume, that might catch the leery eye of somebody who's like HR, for example, that doesn't know what Dungeons and Dragons is and just thinks that you're kind of a joke. But if you put D&D, it's almost like if you know, you know. And by tying it to IR tabletop exercises, those cyber people are going to be like, oh, I get it. And that's clever. And this person's, well, this is subjective, but like this person's cool. So I'm hiring you, Chris. All right. So I'm putting NIDS in place now simply because we've had an infection in this area. Okay. So check this out. Here's another like decision point, guys. And we'll let chat talk for about 30 seconds. We've had an infection inside the environment in userland. We don't know how it happened. Could have been USB, could have been spear phishing, insider threat. I don't know. But we had an uptick in activity in remote access threats, but we're also experiencing this ransomware incident. So what would you want to do next? And you might even want to just frame it so it's easier for people to think who might not have the perspective to come up with it on their own. Do we focus on userland? Do we continue to focus on our DMZ? Or do we focus on our corporate IT infrastructure? Like, just throw those three things out there and let the discussion facilitate. Realistically, you could have a 1 hour tabletop exercise and only get through like 7 or 8 turns because it's more about the conversation and discussion than anything else. Did you have forensics as an option at all? We do not have forensics right now. Clint, how do we get that? There's a skill tree that we have to do.
Yeah, so right now in this version of the game, forensics is done internally, so you have to have advanced security skills or security skills training. Yep, so if you do the security skills training, then you'll get scroll down and you'll get forensics, the ability to do forensics. Move it down. I think it's the last one there. Oh wait, where was it? Alex, where's my forensics? It's an IR. Is it an IR? Yeah, it's an IR thing. Scroll all the way down. Right there, gather forensics. Yeah, so you have to be in IR mode to gather forensics, and then I believe you have to have security skills training. Now, we do have in the next update to where you can also do external, just like you could do external pen testing and internal pen testing in here. There we have it to where you can basically pay to have your forensics done as opposed to having the internal skills.
I like it. So I panicked and hit security skills training just to burn my assets. All right, we got certified security awareness training. Nice job, everybody. So now we can do threat hunting as well. Our P&L is up, so we're looking good. We're at 3%. So, again, it depends on, here's another thing. Like you do have to be able to read the room a little bit, right? Like, are you trying to train more senior people? Or are you trying to train more junior people? With junior people, you might say, okay, hey, everything looks clean. It doesn't look like we have any infections. What do you guys think we should focus on next? And you can look at the scaffolding if you want. Now, if you have more senior people, you might say, okay, hey, like we're continuing to grow the information security program. Check out the skill trees. And what do you think we should do next and why? You know what I mean? Like give them a little bit more nuanced a question so you get a more nuanced answer.
Here's a quick pro tip. If you're using red versus blue for your tabletop exercises, discuss and have dialogue first, then come up with your answers, then use the game to enact the actions that you choose. Don't look at the skill tree first and don't let the game dictate what you should do by looking at your options. That's kind of in reverse. I mean, you can, but that's limiting the dialogue. This is just, the game is just there to illustrate and to illustrate the actions that you choose. And the game is granular enough to where it's usually going to have an action that can be a result of the dialogue that you have. But dialogue first, game second.
Right. Again, tabletop exercises are about educating people, not about playing the game.
Yep.
Thanks, Bit Surge. I think it's awesome too. So we did some threat hunting on on the environment. Now that we have that skill, I'm doing some ICS safe testing because I want to be able to do vulnerability assessment. But I'll ask chat, guys. We've got 2 resources. We can do a bunch of different things. We can request budget. We can do vulnerability assessment. We can start installing video surveillance, like physical security things. We can do an internal vulnerability assessment or a pen test. What do you think we should do, guys? We got 2 resources and a bit of time. If I recall, you need to have an endpoint in an asset to be able to gather forensics on a compromise. Oh, you have to have EDR on it. That's not terribly inaccurate. A lot of EDR solutions do allow you to pull telemetry and artifacts off of the compromised asset. That's a modern function of EDR. Nice, yeah. Go ahead and hit the like button if you're getting value out of that, whether it's entertainment value or educational value. It helps us know what you guys like and make more of that content for you.
Yep. It also helps the algorithms put it out there so more people can get the education.
All right, so Rich464 wants to do a pen test. I like it. I like it, Rich. Might ask why we want to do a pen test, Rich, at this time.
Yep.
There's no wrong answers. Should the game be approached like watch, oriented, decide, act, action cycle, the kind of the OODA loop, if you will? Clint, you're former military. Should we OODA loop this?
I mean, we have already, we have already observed the threat, so, and I think we've already sort of oriented. So, I mean, I don't want to get into the whole OODA loop thing, but I think we're there. I mean, that's kind of where we're at.
Okay, I like it. I like it. So I've gone ahead and done an internal pen test. Whoop, you guys don't want to look at me. Well, Carrie, that's a pretty strong opinion of yourself, but I will say this. If you're getting coffee, then, be the best coffee getter there is. And I would also argue, if you're getting coffee, if you're helping facilitate and support a tabletop exercise, you'll be in the room, you'll hear the conversation, you'll get exposure. And if you demonstrate your interest in that topic and that concept, you might be able to, be asked to get involved and slowly start building on that. All right, so safe testing methods are good. We've got the pen test coming up, and let's go ahead and do a vulnerability assessment. Now, I know that we don't have the resources to do that. Okay. Let's do EDR. So I would say EDR on our AD server. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the mail server only because, and this would, I could help teach at this point. Exchange on-prem has had massive issues. It's almost like every other month there's a massive issue. Proxy shell, no shell proxy shell or something like that. Log4Shell, maybe not Log4Shell, but there's a lot of Exchange issues with on-prem Exchange. So putting in EDR on that's a good idea. Ooh. We've got a compromised asset in the environment. All right, guys. What do you guys think? This is our second compromised asset in user land. We've got some more telemetry up in here. What do you guys want to do? I want to point out that we need one more turn for the pen test to finish. So I think technically if we activate IR, it will not ruin our situation. I'm going to go ahead and think here. We could do threat hunting. Threat hunting helps us determine if an asset is compromised. Let's go ahead and do threat hunting and activate IR. Here's what I'm thinking, guys. This asset was compromised once before. so it's got a higher risk. Threat hunting will tell us if it's infected, and it'll allow us, since we're going to be in IR anyways, to fix it while we're in there. All right, threat hunting completed. No issues. We are in IR. All right, team. All right, team. Should we clean the asset, disconnect it from the network, gather forensics, replace the asset, or restore from backup? Please let us know in chat what you think we should do and why. Give us a quick answer and why. Alex Goodwin's mentioning budget. That's a great idea, Alex. I will check out the budget. Because our pen test hit also, you could see all these yellow shields with the red exclamation point have appeared. This is corresponding with the discovery of the vulnerabilities from our internal pen test. A great, great value. So we've got disconnect from the network, 2 people. Nathan Blair's talking about Carl. Carl, our forever end user who makes poor decisions. Emilio wants us to disconnect and threat hunt. Okay, so I'm seeing strong pushing for disconnect. All right, so let's go ahead and disconnect it, guys. What else? Do you guys want to gather forensics on it? Should we do... So we could gather forensics, or we could do threat hunting. We just did threat hunting on this asset, so we know that's fine. We could threat hunt on Wilson and the devices in this network segment. Isolate the asset as a precaution. Yep, that's a good point. I see some forensics here. Second time, same zone. Melina wants to get forensics. I agree. All right, Bruce wants to disconnect and then do forensics. So let's do that. I agree with everybody, right? Forensics is going to help us. Disconnecting it is going to quarantine it or isolate it. Gathering forensics is, in my opinion, like it helps with threat intelligence score, but in real practice, in real life, gathering forensics helps us identify exactly what it is, which can help us understand who the threat actor is, and then we can go to something like MITRE ATT&CK if it's one of those threat actors, and look at TTPs and inform our threat hunting activities on what we should be looking for. Also, whatever artifacts we find during forensics phase, we can then look for in the environment to see if other assets are demonstrating that type of malicious behavior, right? We find some weird bash file in the temp directory on B. O'Neill. Well, guess what? Let's go look at the temp directory in R. Wilson and see if that same asset is there. Threat hunt the NIDS. Okay, let's do that. Good talk, guys.
Yeah, this is some great dialogue, and this is exactly how it should be in a tabletop exercise.
Exactly. And just so you guys know, too, like the forensics takes 2 turns, so we're going to have to chill on that. But one other thing I want to point out, and just to let you guys know how easy this is, like Clint and I said, let's do hey, right before the stream, let's do tabletop today. Okay, no problem. We didn't, like everything that's coming out of my mouth right now is real time. This isn't scripted. I didn't know what we were going to be doing. I didn't know what threats we were going to be experiencing because the ThreatGEN Red versus Blue AI decides for itself as we go. So this is all real time off the fly, but this is just how easy it is to do these tabletop exercises. We removed a loiterer from the premises. Let me give you guys big screen action.
Decided to. So we've had so the threat actor threw some ransomware at us, and now they're on site. So that's some. It's interesting.
It could be 2 different threat actors too. No one says you like they take turns. They don't queue up for you.
It's not like a movie fight where they take turns. One hits you, then the other one hits you, and in a multi-attacker scenario where the karate master is like fighting them one at a time. No, you can get jumped all at once.
So we have a second asset compromised in the environment. Not good at all. So let's go ahead and engage chat. Our telemetry is going up. We're about to get more forensics. Give us what you think we should do, guys. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect and do forensics only because that's what you guys had said before. So I'm teeing it up in preparation for the comments. Again, we're on about a 10-second delay. So I'm speaking to you from the past.
Yeah, that's the only downfall when doing it on this restream thing. But if you're doing it on a Zoom call or something like that, it's all real time and it's easy to discuss. keep in mind, so we're down to about 6 minutes of this stream. I have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour, and so we're probably not going to finish this exercise and be able to see the downloader report or whatnot. But those of you that asked, yes, you can download the report at the end of this. And so this was a good sample, but we're definitely not going to finish the exercise here.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and restore from backup and all right. So again, it's all about the conversation. I've made a couple decisions here. You can see our threat intelligence scores at 35%. We're out of IR. I've cleaned both of these devices. This environment, there's no question that this environment is a hot mess on fire. So now, I cannot deactivate IR with machines disconnected. Here's a fun fact. So this is a perfect example. I just not learned, but you could use this in the scenario. Whoa, Jerry, you can't. You need to restore the environment to a known good state before you can deactivate IR. You didn't do that. The network is still disconnected, so you need to fix that. All right, so that's what we would do here. Reconnect, and we'll do threat hunting on this device here. Now deactivate IR. All right. Clint, let me know when we're at 3 minutes out.
Okay. We're at 4 minutes right now.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and deactivate IR. We can do threat hunting, throughout the environment. All right. Threat hunting completed. No issues. We can go back, rinse, and repeat. So Melina asked, can we see the pen test report? So Melina, in the game, you don't get to actually view the report. What you get is all these assets now have vulnerabilities on it, which is what the report would effectively tell you, right? Yeah. So the pen testers found some 0 days. They found some misconfigurations, like this workstation is missing antivirus altogether. I'm sure this gateway firewall has default creds like admin on it. The pen testers are like, this is terrible. You really got to fix that. This is what Bruce Rosenthal thinks maybe the NTP server's been compromised and our time is all sorts of screwed up. LOL.
We are at 3 minutes out, by the way. But I just want to add that we keep this high level on purpose. Like, okay, you did a pen test report. Now you got a bunch of vulnerabilities. So you can focus on really what vulnerabilities were found and stuff like that, because we didn't want to have this detailed. It's not about viewing the details and going through so many details in a tabletop exercise. The details would be more of a functional incident response exercise. But this keeps it high level and strategic the way that we did it.
Okay, so let's say that it was a real hour that you had carved out for your team and you got to this point. It's not about winning. You've had a great conversation. You can go ahead and hit the cog and hit end scenario. The scenario ends and you actually get the debrief and here is the report. You can
I forgot that you could just end scenario. I'm stupid, and I designed that feature.
Right, and the benefit here is that it's not about completing the game. And dude, I sound like a broken record. It's about learning and getting value. So yes, you can export the report, and which means you can time box this. Hey guys, let's meet for an hour. I'm going to bring sandwiches in. It's a working lunch. Let's do an exercise. It'll be fun, I promise. Okay, boom. Here's a report. Save them off. You could do it once a month, once a week, whatever, and you're off and running, right? All right, so this has been ThreatGEN Red versus Blue, the cybersecurity simulation platform that allows you to skill up yourself, have a good time playing games against an AI or against another human. And we've done that on the stream before. Even heck, last year we did a full 8-person invitational tournament around ThreatGEN Red versus Blue. But it is a powerful platform that has practical application for corporate citizens doing tabletop exercises. I really hope that you guys got value out of this stream. If you did, hit the like button. Consider hitting subscribe. Every single Wednesday at 11:30 a.m., ThreatGEN goes live to do ThreatGEN Red versus Blue streams. Sometimes we're doing tabletop. Sometimes we're doing red offensive ops. Sometimes it's blue. Sometimes we're showing you how different cybersecurity frameworks can be operationalized in practice, like NIST cybersecurity framework. It all depends. You'll have to stay tuned to the channel. That's why we ask you that you join kind of the community so you can be made aware when these things come up. Clint, any final thoughts before we send this stream into the graveyard?
No, whenever you hit the like button, also hit the, if you do subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you do get notification of those streams. And those streams are not always just red versus blue. Like right now, every other week, we're focusing on AI tools that can help you in cybersecurity. So yeah, so join us, subscribe to us, and come hang out with us. We have a lot of fun. So with that, Jerry, thanks for joining us. Everybody, all of our viewers, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.